Welcome to this explainer. Look, today we're unpacking some truly fascinating and maybe honestly a little uncomfortable source material. We're diving straight into the psychological programming that's likely keeping you trapped in an endless cycle of consumption and debt. We're not going to sit here and talk about budgets or interest rates. You already know all that. Instead, we're going deep into the psychology of wealth. The source we're looking at argues that everything we think we know about why we're struggling financially is just fundamentally backward. So let's map this whole thing out together and see how we can reclaim our wealth psychology.
We're kicking things off with a pretty harsh reality check presented right at the beginning of the text. Right now, you are financially blind. Ouch, right? But what does that actually mean? Well, the source argues that you aren't poor because of your income. You're poor because of your psychology. You know the drill. You keep telling yourself, if I just had a higher salary or if I just got that lucky break, I'd finally be rich. But the text tells us this is actually a systemic programming issue. Society has basically trained you to remain a permanent consumer. You're trading 40 hours a week of your incredibly limited time for a paycheck, only to turn right around and spend it on things you absolutely don't need. And why do we do it? Usually to impress people we don't even really like. So what's actually keeping us stuck here? The source calls this the illusion, the capitalist hamster wheel.
To beat this system, we really have to understand the mechanics of what the text calls the dopamine wealth trap. This is where your biology literally connects to your bank account. Listen to this. Billion-dollar corporations aren't just guessing what you want to buy. No way. They are actively hiring consumer psychologists specifically to target your brain's evolutionary desire for status. Think about that sudden rush you get when a package shows up at your door. That is your biology being completely hijacked. When you get a paycheck, your brain releases this massive surge of anticipation dopamine. The whole system tricks you into thinking that spending money is the reward for your hard work. You feel this high when you swipe that card. But it's a total biological illusion designed to keep you spinning on that hamster wheel. And this perfectly illustrates the core difference in mindsets. The system wants the average person buying assets that depreciate the second they leave the store. We're talking expensive clothes, the absolute newest smartphones, luxury cars, just status symbols, right? But a wealthy person, they understand something entirely different. They know the ultimate financial reward isn't buying more stuff. True wealth is about buying back your time. Rich people don't use money to flex their status. They use their money to purchase ultimate freedom. And honestly, once you see this shift in perspective, you really can't unsee it. To escape this matrix, the top 1% use a very specific protocol. Let's look at step 1, the financial fast. So here's the absolute crucial point. For exactly 30 days, you have to initiate a strict financial fast. Actually, scratch that. Let's call it a hard reset for your brain, because that's exactly what it is. For 30 consecutive days, you cut off all non-essential spending, completely. The source emphasizes this specific 30-day time frame because, well, it takes time to break biological habits. Think about it. If you've been living on that dopamine hamster wheel for years, a quick weekend of self-control is absolutely not going to fix it. 30 days is what it actually takes to start rewiring your financial psychology. Let's break down the rules for this fast. You have to commit to zero impulsive online shopping, zero subscription traps, zero luxury dopamine hits. By enforcing these super strict rules, you're actively cutting off your own access to instant gratification. And here is why this is a total game changer. You are breaking that deep-rooted neurological link between your emotions and your spending habits. You are essentially forcing your brain to experience what the source calls baseline reality. When you strip away all that constant purchasing, when you manage to survive a stressful Tuesday without ordering a $50 takeout just to feel better, you realize extremely quickly how little material garbage you actually need to survive and be happy. It just completely clears the fog.
Once that fog is cleared out, you're ready for step 2, the shift from consumer to producer.
Now, what's so fascinating here is how this protocol completely rewires how you view the digital world every single day. First, you have to stop looking at things through the eyes of a customer. Stop asking, what can I buy here? Instead, step 2, when you open an app on your phone, ask yourself how the creators of that app are making money from it. Step 3, when a slick new product catches your eye, don't just reflexively reach for your wallet. Stop and analyze the marketing funnel that just captured your attention. Like, how do they hook you? And finally, step 4, view the entire world as a massive game of leverage and value creation. The text points out that the exact moment you train your mind to look at the world this way, as a producer, your brain will start spotting profitable opportunities absolutely everywhere, instead of just seeing an endless catalog of things to consume.
And that brings us to the final tactical step. Step 3, the 24-hour friction rule.
We have to talk about the reality of the modern financial matrix for a second. It is deliberately, meticulously designed to make spending completely frictionless. Think about it. One-click checkouts, double-tapping your phone to pay with facial recognition, digital wallets. They are engineered to make your money vanish in milliseconds. Literally, before your logical brain can even process that you're losing resources. To counter this hyper-efficient spending environment, you have to create artificial friction. You must force yourself to wait exactly 24 hours before buying literally any unessential item. Never buy instantly. Always insert a 24-hour pause.
And this leads to an absolutely incredible, measurable biological outcome. According to the source material's data, a massive 90% of the time, if you just forced yourself to wait that 24 hours, the initial emotional dopamine surge will completely fade. Your rational brain comes back online, and you realize you didn't even want the item in the first place. It was purely the anticipation of the purchase that you were craving. Only in about 10% of cases will a genuine desire or need actually remain after that friction period. This one simple rule can instantly eliminate up to 90% of your wasteful impulse spending. How crazy is that?
This all builds up to the climax of the source text, the ultimate choice, taking control of your biology.
Wealth is not an accident. It is a direct reflection of your psychological discipline. This is such a powerful quote, and it perfectly nails the core message of this entire explainer. The source leaves us with a stark, kind of chilling realization. The modern world actually wants you broken. It wants you distracted, and it wants you completely dependent on your next paycheck. Why? Because financially free individuals just cannot be controlled by the system. If you have your time back, you aren't desperate. You aren't compliant in the same way. Your financial discipline is quite literally your armor against the system built entirely on your endless consumption.
And that brings us to a final critical choice. You could step away from this explainer right now and slip right back into that endless cycle of debt and consumption. You could remain exactly who you were yesterday and just let the dopamine trap keep running the show. Or you can take control of your financial biology today. It's something you really need to sit with. Will you remain just another consumer, or will you declare today as day one of your financial freedom? The choice is entirely yours. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll see you in the next explainer.